Every damn day.
Hello everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. It is season 2, episode 12. So we are getting there, I guess, only 350 some more to go. And just want to talk about a couple things going on at the Fledge here. Tomorrow we have our crypto meetup, and our agenda is going to be kind of going over how Fledge Coin and our NFT projects are going, and then we're going to get into a little bit of NFT creation and Web 3.0 software development. So I think it's going to be a really cool meeting, but it's kind of nerdy, I guess. But if you're interested in crypto, don't know how to get started, sound not great. Okay, let me double check something. Thank you, Don, for catching it quick. Looks like shifted up to that microphone.
Should be better now. If you could give me a thumbs up, Don, I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Back on track real quick. And then the other thing that's happening tomorrow is 99 Problems, but a Pitch Ain't One. If you want to pitch, reach out to us. I will send you the link. And if you want to watch and vote and help decide who gets the $99, come on and watch on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and I guess that's it. So let's get to my guest real quick, because I am so excited to talk to our very good friend, and I can't say it until I get the camera right, Mr. Justin Caine. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good, Jerry. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I when you said that you wanted to be on the show last night through that form, and I was so excited, and then I was thinking, you were never on the show last year.
No.
I don't know how we missed each other, because I should have been calling you every day.
No worries.
But I am so happy that you're on the show.
I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm going to just jump in and put everything on you.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what your story is, if you will?
All right. Well, I'll tell my story. Although I feel like I've told it a billion times, but there's always new people that need to hear it or want to hear it. So, I was born without disabilities, as actually most of people with disabilities are actually born without them, and they get them throughout their life. So, what happened was, I probably, it's not confirmed, but I probably had my brain tumor growing in my cerebellum, which is on your spinal cord. It affects speech coordination, that kind of stuff, balance, since I was born, and no one knew about it. And then eventually it grew slowly, thankfully. But it grew to the point where on the first day of 4th grade, on the way to school, I bent down to tie my shoe and I had a massive brain hemorrhage. So what had happened was the fluid in your brain goes down your spinal cord. And that tumor had actually covered that up, so nothing could get out. So when I bent over, there was so much pressure it actually tore up a part of my brain. I started vomiting, grabbed my head, passed out. And I was rushed to the hospital, had less than a 50% chance of surviving. They flew in one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, and he did the 7.5-hour surgery, and I made it. And my survival and my recovery caused me to become a 1994 miracle child from Brawl Hospital. And so that's kind of the beginning of my story.
What does that mean, 1994 miracle child? Is that?
Yeah, so the Children's Miracle Network is a fundraising platform that a lot of hospitals use throughout the country. And what it is they highlight some really miraculous stories that happen every year. And so Sparrow is a miracle network hospital, And so they chose me as well as a good friend of mine, Corby Bear. We were both miracle children that year, and I think there actually may have been one other person, but we all had pretty incredible stories of trials and triumphs, and so they wanted to celebrate it to help them raise funds that they needed to get more equipment, more staffing, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you, well, I'll let you keep going. So, you know, you're 9 years old when that
I was
happened.
10, yeah.
10
I
years
was 10
old.
years old.
And that's just, I mean, that as a parent thinking about, I mean, I just had this image of what if that happened to my child,
Right.
and how scary that would be.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, just a small injury is so scary.
Yeah.
What, keep going, whatever you want to talk about there.
So like, yeah, I mean, yeah, just like you're saying, man, it's my parents are such strong people. I don't know what I would have done. You know, my dad was driving me to school and everything was fine, and then suddenly I'm vomiting and grabbing my head and passing out. And it's just like, how would we react, you know? And I pray that I never have to go through that, but man, it's just, you know, it's one of those things that, man, it blows me away. And now as a father myself, I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. We're, God, I could never go through that with our kids. You know, I would just, that would scare me so much. I mean, I've become a pretty emotional person as I've become a parent. I actually just went to, I had lunch with Dawn Haddon from Ellie's place.
Yeah.
And then she gave me a tour through their facility, and man, it's amazing. But she was giving me examples and talking about their volunteers and stuff, and it's like, man, those there's some people that are much stronger than I think I could ever be emotionally.
I think put in the situation, you would be a lot stronger than you're giving yourself credit for.
Thanks.
And shout out to Dawn. She's going to be on the show on Friday at noon.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, Ellie's place. So you brought tears to my eyes earlier. She's going to bring tears to my eyes. I know it. So now you're in 4th grade and this happens. You have to change schools. You don't go to school.
No,
What?
So what happened was, it was a funny story. So, a woman named Lynn Bartley was my my birthing coach for my mom, and Lynn and Tom and my parents were all very good friends. And actually, Lynn and Tom's son, Landon, is one of my very good friends now. And but Lynn was she worked for Hazlitt Schools, which is the school system I was going to at that time. And so when this all happened, you know, at first, obviously, it was just survival, and that was it for the first couple of months, was just, you know, trying to get, you know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't swallow, I couldn't see, I couldn't, you know, I had to relearn all that stuff, and so that took priority, obviously, but then once I got beyond that, and I was starting to be functioning, you know, I wasn't like a normal kid still. I was still in the wheelchair and everything, but I could start working on, you know, learning and all that kind of stuff again. She started homeschooling me, and I hated it so much because she was so involved. I believe she ended up retiring as an administrator, and I don't know if she was an administrator then, but she was so involved in the school system and everything that I hated it, because she really pushed pushed me with all my curriculum and everything. And actually, by the time I finally got back, I got back to school at the very end of fourth grade. Still like, I was in a wheelchair and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the end of fourth grade and through probably the first quarter of fifth grade, I was bored because she had pushed me beyond. I was ahead of the class with all my homeschooling. So that was pretty funny.
That is funny, because people would think that you were being set back by this, when it really actually excelled you in some ways.
Yeah,
and then,
but like I said, I didn't.
Are you still mad at her?
No, I love her. She's awesome.
That's lucky to have someone so wonderful in your life that would do that. Make sure.
I've been super fortunate to have some very strong, powerful, and influential people in my life. So.
Yeah. Let's fast forward for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You've got 2 successful organizations that you're running. Do you think her pushing you helped you?
Yeah, I've wondered that a lot. I definitely have a drive now that is pretty almost ridiculous level sometimes, and I've tried to look back and tried to remember prior to my brain tumor hemorrhage and all that stuff if I had that same kind of drive as I do now, or if that kind of trauma and needing to go through that all that really helped drive me and light more than a flame. It was light a freaking huge fire under me. And I don't really remember if that was true or not. My parents have said I always was, kind of driven and stuff, but I don't know. But either way, I'm happy about it. I know it probably drives a lot of people nuts around me, especially people that are close to me. How I call it passionate, but they call it crazy. I can be or obsessive. But yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about at least your 2 organizations and maybe some other things that you've been doing.
Absolutely.
Good Fruit Video.
Yeah. So as a person with a disability, I had a lot of struggles, like many people with disabilities, and one of those struggles is stigma. And what happens is when people see you and you're walking different, talking different, acting different, they assume something's wrong with you. And so what happened was, I went back to school and I graduated on time. I went to Lansing Community College. I had some advanced classes right out the gate. Graduated. I did stumble because I was kind of sheltered when I was growing up because of all the traumas. My parents were kind of sheltering of me. And so when I went from graduating to being in college, I kind of went from 0 to 100 like that, right? And because of that, I wasn't ready, and it actually ended up taking me 4.5 years to get my 2-year degree, even though I started advanced classes. So because of that, I graduated finally though, and I went out and wanted to find work in my degree, and I could not, and I started thinking, well, I gotta find something, I gotta pay the bills, and I was struggling to get anything above an entry level position because people just, they saw me and I was different, and they didn't like different. And so what ultimately ended up happening was I started volunteering a lot with Sparrow Hospital because of my back history, and eventually they were like, "Well, what are you doing? Like, you're always here, and how do you make money?" And I said, You're supposed to make money? What? And so they actually helped lead me into my first entrepreneurial venture. And it was called Good Time Communications. And then that went well at first. And then that was 2008, though. We know what happened in 2008. So suddenly, my only client, which was Sparrow, had to tighten their budget, and I was struggling again. And long story short, I ended up joining the Technology Innovation Center in East Lansing. And there I met this guy named Craig Westfall. And Craig had this fledgling company as well called QB Productions. And the problem was he had this wealth of ability, and he could do amazing work, but he knew no one. And I knew all these people, but I was super green behind the ears. So we ended up working together, and it became exclusive where we're always working together. And so it made sense to merge our companies. So we took Good Time Communications, kiwis of fruit, good fruit. And then we threw video on the end so people wouldn't mistake us for a food vendor, but they still do. So
I never knew that before. But, I think the first time, and this is a little fuzzy to me, I think the first time you and I ever met was at the TIC. And before I was involved with LEAP and the TIC, a guy named Mike Shields was doing work there. If you remember Mike, and I think Bob Beldori was involved and all that. So you and I met a long time ago. And then I guess became friends more in the last few years.
So. Definitely. So
how's the business doing?
It's good. So that's the atypical thing, right? Oh, business is great. So I don't know if you know this, but the last couple of years have been kind of crazy. We have this little pandemic. But
I watch the news. I hear about it, but
it's not that bad. No, and so we Good Fruit, when it started, it grew, and then it started struggling because the problem was, being me, and I'm this 20-some-year-old. And then my business partner, 17 years older than me, we wanted the same thing, but how we thought you're supposed to get there was generationally different. And the problem with us is we're both very, very stubborn people, and so we struggled with that for a while. We broke through it. Kept going, and we're doing all right, and then continued to grow and whatnot. But then we hit this we hit the pandemic, and everything kind of just went nuts, and I think the pandemic it threw us for a loop. For sure, and it really took us a little off course. But we fought through it. We got through what we thought was the main part, and then started getting better in the third quarter of last year, and then the fourth quarter was actually our best quarter ever in the history of our company. So we really came out of it strong.
Nice.
Now. But then we kind of sat back and went, we hired, it's good. And then the first quarter is always bad. But the first quarter when you're still in a pandemic is really bad. So we went from like best quarter ever to one of our worst quarters with higher expenses. And so it's, you know, it was a struggle, and it kept going like that. And, you know, we had to fight through it, and we ended up finishing the year relatively strong. We made a lot of investments. So our bank account does not like us right now, but Matthew Anderson,
Yeah.
you know him. We hired him to become a coach for us, and he's been amazing. He's really helped us turn things around. We also hired another person onto our team, Matt Lurch, who many people may know as Mojo. He was on the radio for 20 some odd years here on 921 and Q106. And then he had a quick stopover at Gillette's for a little bit, and then he came to us, and it's amazing, and we're really focused on growing, and we're trying to really put the money behind the effort to get where we need to be. And you know, it's scary, and my wife looks at me side-eyed because she's like, you haven't paid yourself in full in 2 years, and you're throwing all this money at doing this stuff. And I'm like, welcome to the life of a business owner.
I know, that's the entrepreneurial dilemma, is that you're bringing your family in it with you.
Right, exactly. So it was a lot easier when I started out, and I was in my 20s, and I had no one to worry about other than myself. But I understand my business partner's dilemma, because when we started, you know, he had 2 kids in school. Now they both graduated, but and you know, wife and family and mortgage and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand. So yeah.
So it wasn't so generational as where you guys were at in your journey, maybe.
Right. But I mean, I still think, no, we still want the same things.
Yeah.
And but one thing is, like, Matt really, Matthew Anderson's really helped us look at, because I say, I want this, and we need to do ABC to get there. And Craig's saying, I want the same thing, but I think we need to do DEF to do that. And so he's helping us look at that and say, okay, which way should we actually take this, you know? And I think that's been super beneficial. Super.
Let's get into Beyond Our Barriers now for a minute, and we'll look back to Good Fruit video too.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Beyond Our Barriers came about because you know, when I got out of school and then I graduated and struggled and I got myself going, and I thought I had success for a while. I looked around and I saw that there weren't really anyone like me. And when I say like me, I'm not saying specifically people with disabilities, because I know that there are people with disabilities who are successful. I'm saying, like, when I'm saying people like me, I'm saying people that were celebrating that they had disabilities, that were putting it out there, that were like, I'm successful and I have disabilities. You know, there's a lot of people with disabilities that, you know, and I was this way when I started out the gate. I didn't want anyone to know my back history when I started out. I didn't want anyone to know that, because I felt like I wanted to succeed. I almost felt like ashamed, right, of having disabilities. And as I've grown, I've really started to embrace it and start to see it as more of an X factor, as you know, you know, I call it being doubted but driven, right? You know, a lot of people in my company in Good Fruit we have several people with disabilities. You know, there's me. We have Isabella, who's awesome, and she's on the autism spectrum. Mojo has MS. We have another guy, Nate, who has multiple disabilities, and you know, but the thing about it is I'm bringing in all these people that they have this drive. You know, you were talking about the did you know, did Lynn help me get my drive, and it was probably part of it, but another part is having that everyone's doubting me, right? And I need to prove them wrong. So when I started getting out here and seeing that, you know, and having some success and stuff, I wanted to see other people with disabilities really lifted up, you know, and not being seen as successful in spite of a disability, but successful with a disability, right? So that's basically how Beyond Our Barriers started, and I really focused on trying to build tools to help, you know, government agencies like Michigan Rehab Services or Bureau of Services for Blind Persons to really help them better facilitate that connection between employers and individuals with disabilities. Because I've been on both sides, right? So I knew, you know, what employers were thinking or what we wanted, and I knew as a person with a disability what I was thinking and what I wanted, and then I was thinking there's got to be a better way to connect that, and so that's how it kind of started. But honestly, what happened was I started getting into this, and everything I was doing was so new. That whole government agency, they weren't really ready to adapt to these new tools. And what ended up happening is we ended up doing a lot of case management ourselves, and that's not what we wanted to do. And so actually kind of the pandemic was kind of like a blessing for that, because what it did was it shut everything down. And that let us reevaluate. And I said, whoa. I don't want to be doing this. You know, were we getting people jobs? Yeah, we were doing all that stuff, and that was great. But then we had to turn around and we had to do piles and piles and piles of paperwork just to, you know, it took us twice as long to do the paperwork as it did to get these people jobs. I mean, so we're like, we don't want to do this anymore. And so I started evaluating you know, how we were doing this, and I've started developing some programs, which I'm not going to talk about specifically right now because I'm working on them on the back end. But I have an entrepreneurship program and a kind of like a employee nurture and development program that I'm working on with two businesses in the region that is going to help really help individuals with disabilities to really meet their potential. And that's ultimately what I want to do with Beyond the Barriers.
Well, we're excited to hear about that. I want to learn more when it's appropriate to.
Yeah.
And how can we help you? Like how could we, and I don't mean we the Fledge, anybody out here listening, the community, what are some good things we could do for Good Fruit or we could do for Beyond Our Barriers?
Well, I mean, so with Good Fruit, the whole idea is we're here to do good and be fruitful in that order. That is our core value, our core mission. And that has multiple levels to it. And that is one that we're going to do good video. We're going to produce videos that our clients love, that either help them meet a goal or resolve a pain, and that is us doing good. And on the other end, and this is almost a politically, people are like, wait, why are you talking about this? On the other end, we're not gonna be the cheapest because we're a value. We're a value added company, and because we promise a video you love, and we're not gonna stop till you get it. And so that means that you need to look at the value of that video for you. And if the way that the video is going to be a video you love is because it's cheap, then we're not going to be the people for you. But if it's the reason it's going to be a video you love is because it helps you meet a goal, resolve a pain, and it makes them and you feel good about it, that's what we need.
I want to reiterate,
Yeah.
all you entrepreneurs out there, all you artists, all you musicians, quit making it a race to the bottom with your pricing.
Exactly.
And show your value out there.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that you said that.
Exactly. And I'm trying to put that out there, like, because if we get a project and I don't feel good about signing that project, that or we get a project and we have to cut so many corners to meet the budget that we're not happy with it at the end of the day. I mean, we want to be happy with it too, right? It's our baby. If we're doing it,
quality's the pride of the master craftsman.
Right.
So if you're proud of it,
So the second part of Do Good Be Fruitful is that our clients understand that we're going to get them a video they love, and so they're willing to spend the money, and they're not gonna push us on that. That helps us be fruitful, right? And then the next part of Do Good Be Fruitful is that allows us to have the money in the bank account to pay our people well, to give them benefits, to help them live the life that they want inside and outside of our company. And that's us being fruitful for them. And then finally, the last one is to use our skills and our abilities to help resolve issues within the community through video and donating our services in order to do that. And that's doing good and be fruitful. So that's the whole mantra behind Do Good Be Fruitful. So I'm saying all that to say if someone wants to support Good Fruit, it's to let us know what kind of goals you have or what kind of pains you have, and let's see if there's a way that we can help resolve those for you in a way that will make you fruitful.
So we're running out of time here. A quick minute.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond Our Barriers, how can we help there?
Beyond Our Barriers, how you can help there is wait for what's coming.
Okay.
And get ready to support when it gets here, because but also if there are entrepreneurs out there or people that want to be entrepreneurs, like legitimate entrepreneurs with disabilities. I don't want to go over time, but
it's okay. Please, this is important.
So when I say legitimate entrepreneurs, I'm saying so I was talking about stigma earlier, right? And there's stigma when it comes to employment, but there's also stigma when it comes to entrepreneurship. All right, so there are a lot of entrepreneurs with disabilities out there, but what I found is most of them are pigeonholed into this concept of micro enterprise, right? So they're doing something that's kind of like a glorified hobby. It's not paying the bills. It's not built for profit or growth. It's not going to hire people. It's just kind of if they're making any money, it's supplementing their SSI or SSDI. And if someone wants to do that and that's what they want, great. But what I'm trying to do is I want to support people, because I know that there are people out there, people with disabilities, that want to start businesses that are profitable that grow, that have employees, that do big
Yeah.
things in the community. And I want to help facilitate that. And so that's one of the programs I'm working on too.
Well, we are out of time.
Yes.
I'm going to say a couple more things, but let's agree to do another show
Okay.
in a couple months or so
Let's do
when you're
it.
ready to talk about the other programs.
Yes,
Because you also
absolutely.
just brought up, the Social Security and all of the things, the benefits there
Yeah.
that people get, or I don't even know if they're benefits.
Right.
Um,
Well,
Yeah.
it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. But the assistance that they get
Mhm.
is sometimes compromised because of an entrepreneurial endeavor or,
Mhm.
some job that
Right.
it never quite fills
Right.
what
And-
needs to be done. Right.
Right. And so the thing about this is when I'm doing things to help people with disabilities, my goal is to get them totally off SSI and SSDI.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm helping them do is not a supplement.
Right.
It is a
right.
replacement.
Well,
Right.
we're in. Whatever
All
whatever
right.
you need from
All
us,
right.
we're
Sounds
in
good.
for sure. And it sounds to me like you are successful with your disability, not despite it.
That's
And
right.
thank you so very much for coming in. And
Hey, Jerry, thank
you
you
know.
so much for having me.
Yeah. All right, everyone. That's a wrap for every damn day. We will see you tomorrow, and get out there and give some support to Justin Caine and Good Fruit Video and Beyond Our Barriers and probably a million other things. But we got another show coming, maybe 2 this year. See y'all.